Hello, this is Chuck Ridgway, Automation Technology Manager at Horner. Thanks for joining us for another Tuesday live stream. Well, this morning I recorded this video in my basement. However, this evening I'm recording the introduction from one of my favorite places on earth, and that is Michigan in the summer. So I am near St. Joseph, Michigan, which is pretty close to Bridgman, Michigan, which is where my grandparents lived when I was a boy. It's along the coast of Lake Michigan, and as I said before, it's one of my favorite places on earth. I would spend the summers fishing with my grandfather, eating my grandmother's delicious food, and hanging out at the beach as much as I possibly could. So it was just a great place for my childhood, and as an adult, I vacation here as much as I can. Now, enough about my vacation. Today we have a very practical video that will help you if you want to ever do a firmware update on OCS-I. Why would you ever want to do that? Well, over the past couple years since we've released OCS-I, we have added several new I/O modules. And if you've got a I/O base that might be a little bit older, that you've had for a while, you might want to update the firmware so that it's compatible with all the latest modules. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So let's get right to it. We've got a real simple agenda for you today. We're going to go through a slide or two telling you how these OCS-I updates work. We're going to quickly go through the general update procedure so you can see it kind of before we actually do it on the bench, but we're going to spend most of our time actually updating a unit on the bench. So here we go. Okay, so how do these OCS-I updates work? Well, first of all, as of now, only the base units of the OCS-I family can be updated in the field. So that means the CNX 100 and the CNX 116. Now, you'll need Cscape 10.2 Service Pack 3 or later, and the updates are performed over USB. And the type of USB cable you're going to need is micro B, not USB-C, not mini B, like you'll find on a lot of Horner products, at least the ones that were designed a few years ago, but micro B. Okay, that's a pretty common cable. You shouldn't have any difficulty getting a hold of one. All right, now what's the procedure we're going to follow? Now, I'm going to jump through this really quickly because remember, we're going to spend most of our time actually doing this procedure on the bench. All right, we're going to start out by downloading the firmware file set from the Horner website, and that's in the normal location where you download firmware updates. You're going to extract the files and put them in the Cscape firmware folder, all right, where Cscape can find them. Then you're going to power down the CNX unit, take it off the backplane, take off all the connectors, so you're ready to go. But before you can access the USB port and the boot switch, which is needed for the update, you're going to have to take off the CNX front cover, which is a piece of cake. You'll see that in our demonstration. Next, you're going to connect your micro USB cable, and then you're going to go to Cscape. You're going to make sure that it's in USB communications mode, okay, not Ethernet, for instance. So in the connection wizard, you need to make sure it's set for USB. But before you go into the firmware update wizard, you want to make sure you don't have any active OCS devices talking over USB, or you won't be able to go in and manually select CNX 116/CNX 100 from the list. Now you're going to press OK. Cscape's going to enunciate the fact that the unit's not responding. That's okay. It's not even powered up yet. All right. You're going to press yes to continue. At this point, you'll get a pop-up box that'll come up that'll give you a bunch of instructions. Now you're ready to power up the CNX, but while you're holding down the load button, after you see some LEDs turn on, you'll release the load button. And then you press OK to close the pop-up box, press Start to start the download, and then the download should start and complete really in less than a minute or two. And then, of course, you'll get a download complete box appear, and you're done. Okay, so again, I flew through those steps quite quickly because I want to show them to you on the bench. So that's what we're going to do now. So how do we know what version of firmware we have in our CNX currently, maybe even before we do the update? Well, we can get that information from the OCS-I status variable. So the 8th word of that status variable tells us the firmware version. And then the 9th through the 15th version tells us the firmware version in the I/O that's connected. Now, this is a really old version. I've got a unit that I received during the CNX beta program way years ago, and I never updated it. So we're going to update this guy today to a version that's in like the 50s. Now keep in mind, the CNX has a 2-digit, and the OCS-I in general has a 2-digit or 3-digit without decimal place type firmware version level. So that's why it's in that particular format. So this version is so old, as a matter of fact, that it doesn't even read properly the firmware version of the 2 I/O modules that I have connected here. Okay, so this is what we're starting with, and we know our current firmware version based on the OCS-I status variable. Now it's time for the physical part of the firmware update procedure. So got our CNX base. We've already removed our modules. Now we have to remove the terminal blocks. To do that, we put our screwdriver through this orange tab here, and we're going to pull straight down. Okay, there we go. That pops the terminal strips off, so we'll remove those. Don't need those on here as of yet. Okay, let's go ahead. Oh, we'll also need to remove our terminator plug, if you have one on there. Okay, and then let's take this guy off of the DIN rail. And our clip, silver clip, can't really see it here, but I'll go ahead and click that down. Pretty straightforward. Again, here's the silver clip that we use for removal. All right, now to access this guy, to access the USB port, we're gonna need to access for the firmware update. We've got to get this cover off. Now the good news is it's extremely easy. Comes off very simply. There's just a single tab that we have to access here. So we'll gently push on that and it just comes out like butter. Okay, no problem at all. Okay, now what are we looking at here? Let's take a look. This is the USB port that we will be connecting to for our firmware update. Now that is a micro USB. Okay, why did we choose micro? Micro is kind of old-fashioned. Well, frankly, it's the smallest USB connector available, and this is a pretty small form factor. So that's a key item here to keep in mind. You're going to need to have a micro USB cable. The other thing that's important to note here is there's a button here. Okay, this gold round disc here is actually a button that you can press, and we'll actually need to press that at key points during the process to do our update. So that was something I needed to point out as well. All right, so that is the physical part of the firmware update. Now let's go through the procedure, including Cscape. Okay, let's make sure we get the right firmware files in the right location. Okay, so after you've downloaded the update package, it's going to be in a zip file format. You're going to want to extract all the files. The files you care about are cnx116.dfu and cnx116.s19, and those need to go in the firmware folder for your particular Cscape install. And remember, we have to be using Service Pack 3 or later, so get those 2 files moved over. Now that we've loaded our firmware files in the right folder, now we're ready to proceed. We need to make sure that Cscape is in USB mode. In other words, it's trying to connect over USB. If you normally use USB for programming and you haven't gone into the connection wizard to change it to something else other than USB, you're already good to go. If you're like me and you normally program over Ethernet, then you're going to need to go into the connection wizard, change to USB, and in order for Cscape to accept USB mode, you have to actually successfully communicate with a Horner controller. Okay, so I'm in USB mode now. Cscape knows it needs to communicate over USB. But before I move on to the next step, I'm actually going to disconnect the Horner controller that was talking over USB, because when I go into the firmware update wizard, I don't want it to think I want to update the firmware on my controller that I'm connected to. All right, so I'm in USB mode, but I'm disconnected physically from the Horner controller over USB. But if we take a look at what's going on in the bench, I do have a USB cable connected to my CNX, and my CNX is powered down. All right, now we're ready to move on to the next step, back to Cscape. All right, so I'm going to go to Tools, Firmware Update Wizard. Okay, and because I'm not talking to a controller, I now have the flexibility of selecting my product type, and I'm going to select CNX 116/100. Hit OK. Remember, my CNX is still powered down. Hit OK. Okay, it's going to tell me that the target's not responding. That's true. Okay, I hit yes. Okay, and press start. And now it's going to give me some instructions. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do, and let's go to complete these instructions, let's go back to the bench. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press that load button, that gold disc that I pointed out when we disassembled the unit. I'm going to press and hold that while the power's down. Okay. Oops, let me put in a position where I can feel it's being held. And then I'm going to power up and let go. Okay. Now let's go back to Cscape. Hit OK and hit start. Okay, now it's going to go through the update process. The download is complete. Please reboot the device. So I'm going to power cycle the device and reboot it. Remember, when I reboot it, I'm not pressing that button, so it should reboot as normally. Okay, and that's really all there was to it. Basically, we've done the process. You can see how quickly that firmware was downloaded to the unit. So again, the key is to make sure you're connected over USB, that Cscape's in that USB mode, and that you're not actively connected to an OCS at the time, but to the CNX powered down. Then you go to the firmware update wizard and complete the steps that I showed you. Okay, so let's take a look at our results. So we're back again with our application running, and I've got a much newer version of firmware in my CNX, and it's now showing, because this is a much newer version, it's now showing the firmware levels in my 2 modules that are connected here. Of course, the other 6 are still showing 0 because there's no modules there. But anyway, so that's proof, if you will, that our firmware update went as expected. Okay, let's say you weren't as successful as I was and you were unable to successfully do the firmware update. You went through the steps I showed and it continually failed. Well, the most likely scenario is you have a USB driver issue. So let's take a look at a possibility and how we can fix that. So if you go to your device manager, and either under Universal Serial Bus Controllers or maybe under other devices, you see something that says STM bootloader, not STM device in DFU mode. That's what I'm showing. If you see STM bootloader, then you need to tweak your driver. Okay, so first of all, the only way that STM bootloader or STM device in DFU mode is going to even show up at all is if your CNX is powered up after you press the boot button on power up. In that mode, it'll either show STM device in DFU mode, which is what we want, or STM bootloader, which is not what we want. So to fix that, you should be able to right click, say update driver, and then browse my computer for drivers. Okay, let me pick from a list of available drivers, and then I should be able to see STM device in DFU mode as being an option. If it's not an option for you, if you don't have this, what I just showed you, you may have to contact tech support so they can help you get the right drivers. okay? I wish I had better direction than that to give you, but you've got to have the right driver for this to work. So that does it for our technical content for today. Don't forget to sign up for OCS training. We've got a couple courses left, one basic, one advanced. Get to our website and sign up today. We have 2 major trade shows left, at least in the United States. So if you're available in September, you can join us in Chicago at the huge machine tool show that has an automation element to it. Or you can join us in New Orleans for the WEFTEC show, the water industry show. That's another fun show. So we'd love to talk to you about your application. Come see us either in Chicago or New Orleans. Lots of ways to interact with Horner online at www.hornerautomation.com, on our YouTube channel, the Horner APG YouTube channel, and we're always very active on LinkedIn. Now next week, I plan to bring you a video on adding the SICK IO-Link master to a Horner control system. So that should be very enjoyable. I'm still waiting for some equipment to come in. I got the equipment from SICK, but I've got a couple other devices that I'll need in order to do the demonstration. If all goes according to plan, we'll be connecting up the SICK IO-Link master next week. So that's it from the shores of Lake Michigan, near St. Joseph at Lookout Point. So let's work hard this week, get out there and do some good, or you can be like me and take some time off.